The abandoned workshop. Evan did not believe in bad luck. He believed in hard work and survival. On the outer edge of the galaxy, on a dry alien planet called Carson 9, survival was never easy. The sky was always gray. The wind carried metal dust. Most people came here to work, failed, and left. Evan stayed. He was a human scavenger. He repaired broken machines and sold old alien parts. He lived alone in a small metal shelter near the scrap fields. Every day was the same. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. Until he saw the workshop. The alien workshop stood at the far end of the old industrial zone. It was massive, dark, and silent. Its walls were made of black metal, burned and cracked by time. No lights, no sound. People avoided it. They said workers vanished there. They said machines went crazy inside. They said the place was cursed. That was why it was cheap. When Evan asked the market broker about it, the man laughed. "You don't want that place," the broker said. "No one lasts there." Evan only nodded. He had little money left. Cheap was good. 2 days later, the workshop belonged to him. When Evan arrived, the main door was half buried in sand. Old alien symbols were carved into it. He could not read them, but they felt heavy, important. He pressed the manual switch. Nothing happened. With effort, he forced the door open. Metal screamed as it moved. Dust rushed out like a breath held for years. Inside, the workshop was huge. Broken machines filled the space. Robotic arms hung from the ceiling like dead limbs. Cables covered the floor. Everything was silent. Too silent. Evan stepped inside carefully. His boots echoed. The air smelled old, like burned oil and stone. "This place is dead," he whispered. But deep inside, something answered. A sound. Soft. Slow. Thump, thump. Evan froze. He held his breath and listened. There was again. Not metal. Not a machine. It sounded like a heartbeat. "Okay, that's new," he said quietly. The sound came from below the floor. Evan followed it to the center of the workshop. There, he found a large metal plate. It was sealed tight, covered in alien locks. Most scavengers would have left. Evan stayed. Using his tools, he broke the old seal. The plate slowly slid open, releasing warm air from below. Light rose from the opening, soft and glowing. Evan climbed down a metal ladder into the underground chamber. The room was round and smooth, like it had been carved, not built. Alien lights lined the walls, still working after all these years. In the center of the room stood two massive shapes. Evan's heart stopped. 2 eggs. They were huge, taller than Evan himself. Their shells were dark gold with glowing lines running across them. Cracks covered the surface. Fresh cracks. "No way," Evan whispered. The heartbeat sound was louder here. Thump, thump. One egg trembled. Evan took a step back. "I didn't sign up for this," he said, his voice shaking. Suddenly, the workshop above came alive. Lights turned on. Machines powered up. The walls glowed with alien symbols. The entire building shook. A hologram appeared in front of Evan. Alien words filled the air. Then the language shifted. Caretaker detected. Evan stared. Bond required. The egg cracked again. A small claw pushed through the shell. Evan felt fear like never before. But beneath it was something else. Wonder. A feeling that his life, his quiet, lonely life, was ending. And something much bigger was beginning. Behind him, the workshop doors sealed shut. Evan was no longer alone, and the dragons were about to hatch. When the workshop woke up, the crack in the egg spread slowly. Tiny pieces of the shell fell to the floor, glowing like hot metal. The heartbeat sound grew louder. Thump, thump, thump. Evan stepped back until his back hit the cold wall. "This is not happening," he whispered. The air in the chamber became warm. Too warm. Evan wiped sweat from his face. The glowing lines on the eggs pulsed, like they were breathing. Then the second egg moved. It shook harder than the first one. The ground trembled. Above him, the workshop roared to life. Machines screamed as power rushed through them. Lights flashed red, blue, and white. Old robotic arms snapped into place. Long-dead systems awakened like sleeping beasts. Evan looked up in fear. "What did I do?" he said. A loud metallic voice filled the chamber. "Biological activity confirmed." Incubation phase ending. Caretaker presence verified. Caretaker? I'm not your caretaker, Evan shouted. I just bought this place. The voice did not answer him. Instead, symbols appeared on the walls. They moved and changed, forming patterns. Then, slowly, the symbols turned into words Evan could read. Human detected. Compatibility high. Evan's blood ran cold. The first egg cracked wide open. A small head pushed out. Its skin shimmered silver blue. Two glowing eyes opened and locked onto Evan. The baby dragon screamed. The sound was sharp and powerful. The chamber shook violently. Evan fell to one knee, covering his ears. Easy, easy, he shouted. I'm not hurting you. The baby dragon stopped screaming. It stared at him. Then something impossible happened. The dragon reached out with its tiny claw and touched Evan's hand. The moment they touched, the workshop reacted. A surge of light exploded from the walls. Evan screamed as images filled his mind. Stars, fire, ancient wars, humans standing beside dragons in massive battles. He gasped and pulled his hand back. What was that? He breathed. The second egg cracked open violently. Fire burst out. This dragon was different. Its skin was dark red. Smoke rose from its body. Its eyes burned like small suns. It screamed, louder than the first. Warning alarms exploded through the workshop. Threat response activated. Heavy metal plates slid over the underground chamber. Defense turrets rose from the walls. Evan realized something terrible. The workshop did not see the baby dragon as a child. It saw it as a weapon. No, Evan shouted. Stop. He ran between the turrets and the dragon. I'm the caretaker, he yelled. Stand down. The workshop paused. The turrets stopped moving. The fire dragon stared at Evan. Its flames softened. Slowly, it lowered its head. Silence returned. Evan collapsed to the floor, breathing hard. That was too close, he said. Then his communicator beeped. A signal alert. Someone, or something, had detected the energy spike. Evan checked the screen. Multiple unknown ships. Incoming trajectory. Not friendly. Oh no, Evan whispered. The workshop had sent a signal across space. And it had been heard. The baby dragons moved closer to Evan, sensing danger. The silver one curled beside him. The red one watched the ceiling, growling softly. Evan felt something strange in his chest. Responsibility. They're coming for you, he said quietly to the dragons. And I don't even know how to protect myself. The workshop answered him. A large hologram appeared. A map of the planet. Red marks lit up around the workshop. Enemies. Dragon assets detected. Probability of attack high. Evan stood slowly. He was just a scavenger. No army. No weapons. But when he looked at the two baby dragons, fear turned into anger. No one is taking you, he said firmly. The workshop lights changed from blue to gold. Caretaker accepted. Defense systems unlocked. Outside, the sky darkened. Something massive entered orbit, and the hunt for the dragons had begun. The hunters have arrived. The sky above the workshop changed color. What was once gray turned dark purple, like a wound opening in the clouds. Evan stepped outside slowly, shielding his eyes. The wind stopped. The planet felt quiet. Too quiet. Then he heard it. A deep sound, like the sky itself was tearing apart. 3 ships appeared above the workshop. They were not small. They were not peaceful. Their metal bodies were sharp and black, covered in glowing red marks. Evan had seen ships before, but these were different. Built for war. Built to hunt. Inside the workshop, alarms screamed again. Hostile vessels detected. Dragon retrieval units confirmed. Evan clenched his fists. They're here already, he said. Behind him, the baby dragons reacted. The silver one pressed close to his leg, shaking. The red one spread its small wings and growled, flames flickering from its mouth. They smell them, Evan whispered. They know. A loud boom shook the ground. Something landed not far from the workshop. Evan ran to a broken window and looked out. Figures stepped out of the ship. Tall, armored, not human. Their armor was dark, with long claws instead of hands. Their helmets had narrow, glowing eyes. They moved slowly, confidently, like predators who already knew their prey could not escape. One of them spoke. The voice echoed through the air, deep and cold. Workshop detected. Dragon signals confirmed. Another voice answered, sharper. Begin extraction. Kill the human, if necessary. Evan's stomach dropped. They're not even hiding it, he said. The workshop responded. Walls shifted. Thick metal plates slid into place. Windows sealed shut. The building turned into a fortress around him. Evan backed away from the door. I didn't ask for this, he said quietly. I just wanted to survive. The silver dragon looked up at him. Its eyes glowed softly. It made a small sound, weak, scared. Something broke inside Evan. No, he said firmly. I won't let them take you. A loud explosion hit the outer wall. The workshop shook hard. Dust fell from the ceiling. The red dragon screamed and released a burst of fire that burned the floor. Outer defenses failing. They're strong, Evan muttered. Suddenly, a new hologram appeared. Not a map, not a warning, a memory. Evan saw images he had never lived. Humans standing beside dragons. Ships powered by fire and light. A war that shook the stars. Then a single sentence appeared. Caretakers once stood their ground. Evan stared. So this has happened before, he said. Another explosion. This one closer. The hunters were inside the outer gate. Heavy footsteps echoed through the workshop halls. Evan grabbed a metal rod from the floor. It was useless, but it made him feel less helpless. I don't know how to fight, he said to the dragons. But I won't run. The silver dragon moved forward and touched Evan's hand again. This time, Evan did not pull away. Warmth flowed into him. Strength. Calm. The red dragon joined them. Its fire dimmed, controlled. Focused. The workshop reacted instantly. Bond strengthening. Limited control granted. Panels opened in the walls. Old weapons slid out, small turrets, energy barriers, glowing fields. Evan's eyes widened. You're giving me control now, he said. Great timing. The door at the end of the hall exploded inward. Two hunters stepped through the smoke. They raised their weapons. Evan stepped in front of the dragons. Stop, he shouted. The hunters laughed. A weak human, one said. Move aside. Evan didn't move. I said no, he replied. The red dragon roared. Fire filled the hall. The hunters were thrown back, armor glowing red-hot. One screamed as it fell. The other raised its weapon again, but the workshop fired first. Energy slammed into the hunter and smashed it into the wall. Silence followed. Evan stared at the smoke, breathing hard. I did that, he said. But the workshop was not done speaking. Primary threat remains. Evan looked up. The largest ship above the workshop began charging its main weapon. The ground shook. The hunters were just the beginning. Evan looked down at the baby dragons. They're coming with everything, he said quietly. And we're not ready. The red dragon spread its wings. The silver dragon stood tall. Together, they faced the ceiling. Outside, the sky burned. And the real battle was about to begin. When the dragons chose him, the workshop shook as the enemy ship charged its weapon. Outside, the sky burned bright red. The sound was deep and endless, like the planet itself was crying. Evan stood in the underground chamber with the two baby dragons beside him. He felt small. The workshop spoke again. Primary weapon charging. Impact in 60 seconds. 60 seconds. Evan looked at the dragons. They will destroy this place, he said softly. And I don't know how to stop them. The silver dragon moved first. It stepped in front of Evan, its small body shaking but determined. Its glowing eyes fixed on him. Slowly, it lowered its head. The red dragon followed. It did not roar. It did not burn. It bowed. Evan's breath caught in his chest. They are choosing me, he whispered. The chamber filled with light. Symbols rose from the floor and wrapped around Evan and the dragons. Ancient words filled the air. The workshop changed again, older, stronger. Full caretaker bond initiated. Pain hit Evan like fire. He screamed as energy rushed through his body. His vision filled with stars and flames. He saw dragons flying beside humans, not as weapons, but as family. The bond locked. Evan collapsed to one knee, gasping. The workshop spoke again, softer this time. Caretaker accepted. Bloodline irrelevant. Willpower confirmed. Above them, the enemy ship fired. A massive beam of energy slammed into the workshop. The world exploded. Metal screamed. Stone cracked. The underground chamber shook violently. Evan shielded the dragons with his body. "Stay behind me," he shouted. The beam stopped. Evan looked up slowly. A golden shield covered the workshop. It held. The enemy ship hesitated. For the first time, it did not fire again. Inside the chamber, the dragons changed. The silver dragon grew larger, its scales shining like liquid light. The red dragon's flames became sharp and controlled, no longer wild. They were still young, but no longer helpless. The workshop updated. Dragon growth accelerated. Threat response unlocked. Evan stood. He felt stronger. His fear was still there, but it no longer controlled him. He looked at a control panel that had appeared beside him. Alien symbols shifted until they became clear words. Defense. Attack. Stand. Evan swallowed. "I don't want to fight," he said, "but I won't let them take you." He pressed stand. The workshop responded. Outside, the ground around the building split open. Old machines rose from beneath the planet's surface. Ancient weapons built for dragon wars long forgotten. The enemy ship pulled back slightly. Inside the ship, alarms blared. They activated the old systems, a voice said in panic. "That workshop is not abandoned." Another voice growled. "Then burn the planet if we must." The ship began charging again, stronger this time. Evan felt the dragons press against him. "They're scared," he whispered, "but they're ready." The silver dragon looked up at him and made a soft sound. Not fear, trust. The red dragon stepped forward, wings spreading wide. Fire gathered around its mouth, bright and focused. Evan placed his hand between them. "Wait," he said. The workshop paused. Caretaker command received. Evan took a deep breath. "If we fight," he said, "we fight together." Outside, the enemy ship's weapon reached full charge. Inside the workshop, the dragons inhaled. The moment before everything changed. The moment before fire met the stars. The battle for the dragons truly began. The one who made the stars go silent. The enemy ship finished charging. Space itself seemed to bend around its weapon. Evan stood between the two dragons, his hands shaking but steady enough to stay raised. The silver dragon's light dimmed slightly. The red dragon's fire flickered, unstable. They were strong for their age, but not strong enough. The workshop spoke again. Probability of survival, low. Evan closed his eyes. "So this is it," he whispered. Then everything stopped. The enemy ship did not fire. Its weapon powered down suddenly, like something had grabbed the energy and crushed it. Alarm screamed inside the ship. Lights failed. The ship drifted, silent. Evan opened his eyes. "What just happened?" he asked. The air changed. Not hot, not cold, heavy. The sky darkened, not with clouds, but with shadow. Stars above the planet faded one by one, as if someone was covering them. The dragons reacted instantly. The silver dragon pressed flat against the floor, shaking. The red dragon lowered its head, fire gone. They were afraid, truly afraid. Evan felt it too. A presence. Ancient. Massive. The workshop spoke again, but this time its voice trembled. Alpha-class entity detected. Dragon sovereign approaching. Evan's heart pounded. "Sovereign," he whispered. The ground began to crack outside the workshop. A deep wind rolled across the planet, bending metal like paper. The enemy ships, every one of them, fell from the sky, crashing into the desert. Not destroyed. Forced down. Something descended slowly through the clouds. A shape so large it blocked the horizon. Wings spread wider than cities. Scales dark as space itself, marked with glowing ancient symbols. Eyes like burning suns. The Dragon Mother. No, more than that. The Dragon Queen. She landed before the workshop without a sound. The planet shook anyway. Evan could not move. The doors of the workshop opened by themselves. The Dragon Queen lowered her massive head and looked inside. Her eyes locked onto Evan. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she spoke. Her voice was not loud, but it filled the world. "Human," she said, "why do my children smell of your blood?" Evan swallowed hard. "I protected them," he said. "I didn't know who they were. I just didn't let them be taken. The Dragon Queen's gaze shifted to the baby dragons. They crawled forward slowly. They did not hide. They did not run. They stood beside Evan. The silver dragon touched his leg. The red dragon growled softly, not at the queen, but at the world. The Dragon Queen went still. "You bonded," she said quietly. The workshop spoke again. "Caretaker bond confirmed." Silence followed. Then the Dragon Queen did something no one expected. She bowed. Not deeply, but enough. The enemy commander, watching from a crashed ship, whispered in terror. She bowed to a human. The Dragon Queen raised her head. "Once," she said, "humans stood beside us. Not as masters, not as slaves, as guardians." Her eyes burned brighter. "We were betrayed, hunted, broken." She looked at Evan again. "And still one of you stood." Evan's voice shook. "I'm not special," he said. "I was just there." The Dragon Queen stepped closer. "That," she said, "is why you are dangerous." She turned her gaze to the sky. More ships were coming. Hundreds. Thousands. The full fleet. "They will not stop," Evan said quietly. "No," the Dragon Queen replied. "They will learn." She spread her wings. Space trembled. "To the galaxy," she said, "this is a warning." The baby dragons lifted their heads, eyes glowing. Evan felt the bond tighten. The workshop powered up again, stronger than before. Alliance restored. The Dragon Queen looked at Evan one last time. "Caretaker," she said, "if you stand with us, there is no turning back." Evan took a deep breath. He looked at the dragons, then at the burning sky. "I already chose," he said. Far above the planet, the stars began to move, and the galaxy finally noticed. When humanity answered the call, the stars moved. Across the galaxy, sensors screamed as ancient dragon energy flared to life. Long-dead systems woke up. Old warnings, ignored for centuries, began repeating again. Dragon-human alliance detected. Most species panicked. Some remembered the old stories. Most did not believe them. On Carson 9, Evan stood beside the Dragon Queen as the sky filled with distant lights. Not enemies yet. Observers. Fleets watching from far away. "They're afraid," Evan said. "They should be," the Dragon Queen replied. The workshop opened new chambers beneath the ground. Doors Evan had never seen before slid apart. Inside were machines far older than the station itself. Human designs. Human hands had once built this place. Evan stared. "So we were here before?" he whispered. "Yes," the Dragon Queen said. "And you were erased." The workshop transmitted a signal. Not a weapon. A message. It went out on all human frequencies. Old military channels. Civilian networks. Forgotten emergency codes. The message was simple. Dragons live. Humans remembered. We stand. The signal traveled fast. On distant stations, humans stopped what they were doing. Pilots paused mid-flight. Engineers froze at control panels. Old soldiers felt something they thought they had lost. Hope. On a rusted mining ship, an old human captain stared at the screen. "Dragons," he whispered. "I thought they were a myth." On a small colony, a human child pointed at the stars. "Mom," she said, "why do the stars look angry?" Back on Carson 9, the first human ships arrived. They were not impressive. Old, scratched, patched together. But they came anyway. One ship became 2. 2 became 10. 10 became hundreds. The galaxy laughed. "That's humanity?" alien commanders said. "Scrap ships and weak weapons?" Evan watched the fleet grow. "They came," he said softly. "They always do," the Dragon Queen replied. The enemy alliance moved next. A massive armada formed on the edge of the system. Perfect ships, clean lines, advanced weapons. They sent a message. "Human caretaker, surrender the dragons. This war ends now." Evan stepped forward. He activated the broadcast. "This is Evan," he said. "I won't surrender." The enemy commander sneered. "You are one human." Evan nodded. "Yes," he said, "and that's enough." Behind him, human ships aligned into formation. Not perfect, not clean, but disciplined. The Dragon Queen lifted her head. "This is your choice," she said to Evan. "Once this begins, there is no retreat." Evan looked at the twin dragons. They were no longer small. They hovered beside him, wings strong, eyes bright. I know, he said. The enemy fleet charged weapons. Human ships powered up. Silence filled the space between them. Then a new signal appeared. More human fleets. From everywhere. Hidden colonies. Lost ships. Places the galaxy thought humans had abandoned. The enemy commander's confidence faded. How many of you are there? He demanded. Evan smiled for the first time. Enough, he said. The Dragon Queen spread her wings. Fire and light filled the stars. The workshop spoke one final time. Alliance confirmed. War phase initiated. The first shot had not yet been fired, but the galaxy already knew. Humanity was done hiding. And when humans stood with dragons, even empires learned fear. What dragons learned from a human. Years later, the story was still told in whispers. Not as a legend of fire, but as a lesson. The Dragon Queen's twins stood at the edge of the high balcony, looking out over the stars. They were no longer small. Their wings were wide, their scales strong, their eyes bright with thought, not hunger. Behind them stood the human. Older now, hair touched with gray, still wearing simple clothes, still refusing armor. The palace had changed around him. Humans walked the halls freely now. Dragons lowered their heads, not in weakness, but in respect. Training grounds echoed with laughter as often as roars. And it all began with a game. The twins remembered. They remembered the silence, the fear, the day they stopped caring. They remembered the human kneeling on the floor, rolling a small glowing orb, smiling like nothing else in the universe mattered. That memory shaped them more than fire ever did. The Dragon Queen watched her children from the throne chamber. They were ready, but the galaxy was not kind. An alarm rang through the palace. Not panic, not fear, war. A hostile empire had crossed the border. An ancient enemy that feared dragons but hated humans more. They had waited, watched, and now they attacked. The council gathered. We burned them, one commander said. We crushed their fleets, another growled. The twins listened. Then the smaller twins spoke. No. The room froze. The Dragon Queen turned. Explain, she said calmly. They fear us, the twins said. That is why they attack. The larger twin continued. If we answer with fear, we teach them nothing. Murmurs filled the chamber. The human stood quietly. The Dragon Queen looked at him. What do you think? She asked. He hesitated, then spoke. Strength ends fights, he said. Understanding ends wars. Silence followed. Then the twins stepped forward together. We will go, they said. Not to destroy, to show. The commanders objected. It is too dangerous. The twins smiled. We learn from a human, they said. We know risk. The fleet launched, but not in attack formation. Open, visible, unarmed. The enemy panicked. Weapons charged, then stopped, because the twins stepped forward alone. No fire, no threat, only presence. The bond they carried spread outward. Not control, not fear, connection. The enemy commanders felt it hit them like a wave. Confusion, then doubt, then understanding. You could destroy us, one enemy leader said. Yes, the twins answered. But then you would learn nothing. The galaxy watched. History paused. The enemy withdrew. Not defeated. Changed. Back at the palace, celebrations filled the halls. But the human sat quietly, away from the noise. The twins found him. You didn't come, one said. You didn't need me, he replied. They sat beside him. You taught us how, the other said. The Dragon Queen joined them. You changed my empire, she said. He shook his head. You already had the strength, he said. I just reminded you what to protect. Time passed. The human grew old. On his final day, the twins stayed by his side. You're not afraid, one whispered. I am, he admitted. But I'm ready. The Dragon Queen bowed her head. You will be remembered forever, she said. He smiled. Don't remember me, he said softly. Remember what you felt when you played. When he passed, the palace did not roar. It went quiet. Across worlds, dragons paused. And when the twins lit the sky that night, their fire was not red or gold. It was white, warm, gentle. From that day on, dragon hatchlings were taught a new lesson before fire, before flight, before power. They were taught how to play. Because when dragons forgot how to eat, A human janitor reminded an empire how to live.